Hey, hello everybody.
Hi there.
Okay, I see some faces. Good morning.
E.
So,
Morning.
just get this started. So, welcome to my masterclass. We're also streaming live on various platforms. Good to see you. I see some people have their instruments. That's great. So I'm gonna mute everybody, and if you have questions, what you can do is you can either unmute yourself and ask at any point, or you can type it in the chat.
Okay. Will I be able to record this session?
It will be, yeah, it will be recorded. Uh,
Okay. Okay.
so uh, yeah, let me just get back to the. So yeah, it will be recorded, and you will be able to watch it afterwards.
Okay. So we should go on mute. Is that
Yeah, I will actually I will mute you so but you can unmute.
Sebastian, I don't hear you. No sound.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
yeah?
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. So what I was saying is I'm going to share some exercises that have helped me strengthen my time and my rhythmic feel, and I'm gonna share some PDFs, and maybe to start out, um, I just want to mention that, and I always say this to my students too, that um, even if you never uh, use these rhythms on a gig, or you don't really get into quintuplets and all this stuff as an exercise, these are great to practice and just strengthen your overall feel. So, sometimes I get the question of like, how does this relate to, you know, playing on a tune, or uh, on a gig? So, a lot of those exercises I look at as little meditations. So, they're just there. They have intrinsic value. You just sit with them for a while and uh, get into it, and it'll strengthen your overall rhythmic concept. So and this is not an it's very selective. We're not going to be able to get through everything in an hour, but yeah, these are just some of my favorite exercises. So we're gonna do some metronome exercises. We're gonna do some um, exercises that are borrowed from the South Indian Carnatic system. We're gonna get into odd groupings of notes, and I'm also gonna present some of my tunes that um, deal with these rhythms. Okay, so I might play an example. Um, either live or from a recording. So, okay, so metronome exercises are very powerful. I recommend getting a metronome that can go as slow as 1 beat per minute. And there's one that's called Metronomics. It's an app, and they can go down to this app can go down to 1 beat per minute, which is very helpful for some of these exercises. There are some programs that go down to fractions like 0.5 beats per minute, which is also super helpful for some of these exercises. Um, Somebody's asking if I'm using these in my daily practice routine. Yes, some of them, not all of them, but I definitely cycle through them and come back to them, and some of them I use in my daily exercise. Okay, so I'm going to start out with just metronome on 60, which is sort of my go-to tempo. So 60 is a special tempo because it's exactly 1 second, right? So that being said, it's good to not always go to the same tempo, and sometimes I would go to 63, 66, or 80. But first of all, what I want to get into a little bit is clapping the triplets. So can you hear the metronome? Is that okay? And also at any point, if the balance is off, just let me know. Guitar, voice, kind of amp is over there. So if you need me to turn something up, just let me know. So first of all, we don't need the instrument for this exercise, but the first thing I want you to do is clap the the triplets. So the second triplet and the third triplet. So yeah, clapping. The first triplet would just be on the beat, right? The second triplet would be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the third triplet would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Second and third triplet. So that's the first step. And those are already, you can do that for a while and see how it really, what it does to your, what it does to your feel. So these are very powerful. And if you try them, they become harder as you go up, as you turn the dial up at faster tempos. So let's say tempo 100, becomes a lot harder suddenly. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Third triplet. Second and third. So sit with that for a while and do that for a while and see what it does to you. And sometimes these rhythms, they mess with you. This is especially the last one, the triplet on 2, and the second and third triplet is a very common rhythm in African drumming, and it's easy to get turned around when you listen to that for a longer period of time. So do these for extended stretches. And then what I like to do is have the metronome click be on those triplets, right? So instead of us clapping the triplet, the metronome will become the second and third triplet, right? So I'm going back to tempo 60, and I'm going to take my guitar and play along with it, but I'm going to make the metronome the third triplet, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so on. So I was playing a slow blues. Um, Again, stay with one setting for a while and really get into it. So the second triplet is the hardest. So really work on that. So spend some time with that. Just hearing the metronome as the second triplet, right? So the third triplet we're more familiar with because of the swing feel. The second triplet is the one that's really tends to throw people off. One, two, three, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay, a lot harder than the click on the third triplet. Okay, so highly recommend it. It'll drive you crazy, but in a good way. Okay, so like I said, look at it as a meditation, and try different tempos, different settings. On the metronome and get into those triplets. And with Metronomics and other metronome apps, you can even program them so that they click on the second and the third triplet, and then you have that groove that's very prevalent in African drumming, and you can play along with it. So moving on, we could spend a whole hour just on these exercises. But I want to also, still on the topic of metronome exercises, get into a different way of practicing time with the metronome. So I have a little chart here that I'm going to pull up. And I'm going to share with you guys. Okay, so here's a metronome chart of tempos that can be divided down to really low numbers. So for this, you need an app that goes down to 1 beat per minute, like Metronomics, right? So the idea here is to practice a tempo. Let's say this one here, 240, 120, 80, 60, and so on. And this chart gives you the numbers that you need to set your metronome at to have it click on every bar, or every 2 bars, or every 3 bars, every 4 bars, every 5 beats, every 3 beats. So I'm gonna, it might sound a little confusing right now, but I'm gonna show you what I mean. So if I set the metronome at 120, let's say that's my quarter note. Okay, so and let me know if this is not loud enough or anything. So, and you know, you play along with it. And then you set it at half speed, and you get the half note. I'm gonna go to half of that, and now we're at tempo 30, and that's 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2. Yeah, so it's this one here. So we started at tempo 120, and now the metronome is clicking on every bar, right? 2 3 4. Okay, so that's once per bar. So now it's starting to get interesting. So if we go down to 15, which you can't do that on a regular metronome, so you need one of those, the apps, or there's some websites or software for your computer that can do that. So now we have a click on every other bar, right? 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Right? So if I had one of those apps that go down to fractions, I could go to half of that, which would be 7.5, and have a click on every 4 bars. But this chart is helpful in finding those tempos that you can divide to the lower numbers. And what I also did, so you have an idea what these tempos actually mean, I put some classic recordings here that are at that tempo, right? So that helps me in attaching attaching a tune to a tempo. It just gives me an idea what that tempo feels like. And here I also started to write down associations I have with a given tempo, sort of like the same way you attach a certain feeling to an interval, for example, the fifth, the fourth, the sixth. The same with tempos, right? What does a specific tempo mean to you? What does it make you feel? Some tempos feel like they want to move forward. Other tempos feel like they want to lay back, right? And it's also very personal, just like with other things in music, harmony and melody. So the highlighted numbers are numbers that you can find on a standard metronome. So that's why they're highlighted. And this is a special tempo, like I mentioned earlier, because 60 beats per minute is exactly a second. So that's something we're very used to feeling. So I'm gonna share that chart later and play around with it. Pick a tempo, could be giant steps, super fast, and set the metronome at every 4 bars, every 8 bars, um, every 3 beats. That's another thing. So I want to just get into that a little bit too. That's also very useful and fun. And so I have, let's stick with the same tempo. So if I set it at 40, well, that's still on the standard metronome. We have a click on every 3rd beat, every 3 beats, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba-do, ba-do, da-ba-do, ba-ba-da, ba-ba-da, da-ba-da, da-da-da, ba-ba-do-da, ba-da-bo, ba-bum, da-ba-da, and so on. So, that's another great exercise, is to sing bebop heads with these exercises. So every 3rd beat, so it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the same idea with every 5 beats, so if I set the metronome to 48, I have a click on every 5th beat, right? Sorry, no, that's not true. 24. And for that I need the Metronomics app. So set it at 24. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's also really helpful to know where each of these clicks land, because you can actually also practice resolving your phrases on those beats. But before I get into that, actually let me play with this one. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so what I mean by resolving phrases on the beat that has the click on it, so because we have the click every 5 beats, the first click is going to be on beat 1, and then the next click is going to be on beat 2 of the 2nd bar, and the next one is going to be on beat 3 of the 3rd bar, and then beat 4 of the 4th bar. So it's actually a very very easy pattern. You can accent that in your playing, knowing that you'll have these resolution points accented by the metronome, right? So which is something that you should that's important to practice too. So you want to be able to resolve a phrase on any beat of the bar, right? And there are other exercises for that too, but this is great because it cycles through the different beats of the bar, right? So let's try that. One, two, three, four, 1, 2. Right? So I was resolving and accenting the beat that the click was on. I hope that makes sense. And you can always rewatch it if I'm moving too fast. But you know, if you start doing it and just you know, get into it, you'll know what I mean. So you know, having the metronome click on every 5 beats is harder obviously than every 3 beats, so start with that. Okay, I'd like to move on, but just to recap, so set the metronome, quarter note, one of these tempos, then split it in half, then split it in half again, split it in half again, as low as you can go, right? See if you can get it to one of the single digits and still feel the tempo and still be, you know, together with the metronome. That's the goal. That's the idea. And these help, these classic jazz recordings at those tempos that you probably have in your ear because you've heard them so many times. Okay, at this point, I'm gonna move away from the exercises, from the metronome exercises. So again, at any point, if you have questions, just ask away or put them in the chat. Okay, so what I would like to get into now a little bit is groupings. So I have a sheet for that too. Accent groupings. Okay. All right. You should be seeing a sheet now that says accent groupings in 4/4. So we're gonna get into subdivisions and groupings a little bit. Starting with fairly simple ones, and then getting into quintuplet and septuplets a little bit. So the idea is to group continuous notes in 3s and 4s and 5s and 7s. Okay, so some of those you might be familiar with, other ones or you need some practice. And if you look at the top, so practice with the metronome on 1 and 3 for even eighths, and 2 and 4 for swing eighths. So it's always good to practice it in both fields, even and swung. So count the beats out loud. So that's another thing I for a long time did not do. So I think everybody has a little bit of a different history, and drummers maybe do that early on. But counting the beats out loud while you're playing or clapping, I would always, clap the pulse and then sing the rhythm on top of that. So now it's time for me to do the reverse and count the beats out loud and clap the rhythm. So if you're one of those, it's a really good practice to always practice a rhythm both ways, right? Counting the time, 1, 2, 3, 4, and clapping the rhythm, and then reverse it and clap the time and sing the rhythm, right? So we're gonna do that with the first one, and that's just even eighth notes. So metronome on 1 and 3. Let's see. Oh, it's all right. 72. Oh no, that's too fast. So this is our half note. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Da 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 da. So what I did, I started out counting and clapping the rhythm, and then at some point I switched it around and I sang the rhythm and clapped the pulse, right? So always practice it both ways. So so let me talk a little bit about singing the rhythms or speaking the rhythms. I like to use the Solkatu or South Indian syllables, which I'm sure some of you are aware of and know them, but I'm just gonna go over those real quick. Well, actually, let's do it as we go. So takita. Takita is a grouping of 3, right? So I use takita for groupings of 3. So let's do the same thing and with takita, right? 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Takita, 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 ta. Next one is groups of 5. So 5 is tadiginaton or tadinginaton. You can also count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or just use one syllable. So let's try that one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tadinginatum, 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 ta. Okay, so let's try the reverse where we count and clap the rhythm, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay, so always do it both ways. Always do the reverse too. And for some people, it's easier to speak the rhythms and clap the time. For other people, it's actually easier the reverse. I don't know. I think it has to do with what you practice when you first start out. Okay, so next up are triplets. So triplets in groups of 4. The syllables for 4 is takadimi, or you can use 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna slow it down a little bit, or actually put it on every beat. Put the metronome on every beat, right? So triplets are taka-dee-me, 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 taka-dee-me. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is a special rhythm because it's actually cycles back on itself within 1 bar, right? So it's a polyrhythm that's just 1 bar long. If you look at all the other ones, they need at least 2 bars to cycle back onto themselves. And this rhythm is also related to the half note triplet. So if you just look at the accents, you get a half note triplet. And now the other examples in that line start on the second and third triplets and on beat 2. So you have 4 different versions of this rhythm, and they're all important because they you will come across them a lot, right? So triplets that start on beats other than beat 1, very common in jazz. So let's quickly go through the other ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Taka-dee-me. So it starts on beat 2. So 1, taka-dee-me, 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 taka. Right? And they all feel different. And actually, before we move on with these, I want to show you something else. Let me see. Okay, here it is. I want to show you how these rhythms are related to the half note triplet, right? So here we have half note triplets in 4/4, and it's basically the same thing that we just did, but written out in standard notation, and not as groupings, not as continuous notes, but as a half note triplet rhythm. So this is also really great to practice. Basically the same thing, right? So the first first rhythm is 1, 2, 3, 4. The second one, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they all have their own personality, sort of, and that comes from the resolution point again, what I talked about earlier. Very important, and for how a phrase feels, it's even more important than where the phrase starts. It's where the phrase resolves, right? And these phrases resolve, the first one on beat 1, the second one on beat 2, the third one on beat 3, and the fourth one on beat 4. So the whole rhythm is moving towards that resolution point, and that's very important for you to understand these phrases, right? And that's true for every rhythmic phrase, whether we do quintuplets or triplets or groupings. They all have a resolution point that they move towards, right? So let's take the last one again. A very common resolution point in jazz is beat 4. You know, like a lot of rhythms resolve on beat 4. So this one goes really well with those, and it feels really good, especially in a swing feel, right? So let's make this 2 and 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So I recommend you spend some time with these. So at the bottom, I just wrote them out again with alternating long and short. So that's just something you can do to further get into these rhythms, is alternate long and short, which, you know, with clapping it's hard to do, but I don't know how you clap a long note. I don't know. So you know, but on your instrument, you can alternate between long and short rhythms, you know. So, you know, let's do the first one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Right? So also great little meditation if you do that, you know, slow tempo for a long time, and really get into it and feel the resolution points. All right, let's move on to some other stuff. Yeah, those accent groupings. Well, let me just go back to that and really quickly talk about the rest of those rhythms. Okay, so we did the triplets, we did the eighth notes, quintuplets in groups of 3, quintuplets in groups of 4. So quintuplets, I like to use tariginatum for 5s, and groups of 3, takita, or you can just go 1, 2, 3. Maybe let me do that for now. So again, set the metronome at a slow tempo where you can really feel the quintuplets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1. Oh, this is even too fast. So this is 40. 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 ta dingina ton 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 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3. So if you're not that familiar with quintuplets, just sit with those for, without any accents for a while. Just really meditate on the quintuplets. Ta dingina ton ta dingina ton ta dingina ton ta dingina ton 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3. And then in groups of 3, 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1. I'm slowing down. Let's try that again. And also I'm going to clap all the subdivisions and then accent. 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 ta dingina ton 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 takita 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 takita. And actually what I like to do as an in-between step, if you do these groupings, you can still you can group it in 3 and you use takita, but you still accent the downbeat of every bar. So that's sort of like a crutch. It helps you not lose track of the downbeat, right? Which is important, right? So let me do that for a second. So you go ta dingina ton ta ding. Takita, 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 ta. And you do that for a while, and when you feel comfortable, you do away with the accents on the downbeats, and you're just left with the accent on every third quintuplet, right? Takita, 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 ta. Okay, so that's the process, right? If you do these higher tuplets like quintuplets and septuplets, you spend some time with just the tuplet itself, quintuplets, whatever you're doing, get into it, and then you sing or speak the groupings, either 1 2 3 or takita, and you accent the downbeats still in your speaking. And then the next step is you're just speaking the subdivisions, the accents. Okay, I hope that makes sense. If not, you can ask me questions anytime. We won't do the septuplets because I also quickly want to get into something else. So yeah, this is something I put together. I'm going to share it. Okay, so this is a matrix of combinations of meters, tuplets, and groupings, right? So you have a meter, 4/4, 3/4, 5/4, or 7/4. You have a tuplet. You have 2. Well, 2 is really not a tuplet. It's just an 8th note. Then you have a triplet, quintuplet, and septuplet. And then you have groupings. Groupings of 2, 3, 5, and 7. So these are all the combinations of those meter, tuplet, and groupings. So when I practice these, I just pick one and try to get into it, right? So what we just did was quintuplets in 4/4 grouped in 3, right? So that would be this one, 4/5/3. So we're in 4/4, we have quintuplets, and we're grouping them in 3, right? That's what we just did. But there are lots of other possibilities on combinations that you can practice, and some are easier, some are harder. I crossed out the redundant ones. Obviously, quintuplets in groups of 5 doesn't make sense, so I crossed those out. But all the other ones are fair game and great to practice. So I'm not sure if I can share 2 pages at once, but I just wanted to show you an example of a tune that I wrote that's based on one of those rhythms. So it's just really the whole tune is basically a rhythm, and it's a short tune. Okay, it's called Furin, and if you look at the time signature, it's in 4/4, and it's triplet based, as you can see, and the triplets are grouped in 5, right? So on that matrix I just showed you, that would be meter is 4, subdivision is 3, and the grouping is 5. So 4, 3, 5, right? So I wanted to just quickly show you what it sounds like. So this is yeah, I don't think I can share the music and the video at the same time. So just keep in mind, it's a the tune is in 4/4, right? It's triplet based, as you can see, and it's the grouping is 5. So based on this rhythm, bam bam da dang dang da dang dang da dang dang, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, right? So that's the melodic rhythm. So as you can see here, quarter note, eighth note, quarter note, eighth note, quarter note, eighth note, and so on throughout the whole 8 bars, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop sharing this, and I'm gonna pull up the recording, and we can just listen for a little bit and see if you can get into that rhythm, and see if you can hear the 4/4. I mean, at times the drummer is, very clearly playing the 4, and also see if you can hear the triplet subdivision, and see if you can hear the grouping of 5 on top of that, right? So I'm actually going to quickly go back one more time, because I want to show you something else. So this is on top of that, it also has it's grouped melodically into 4 notes, right? So if you look at this, you have 4 ascending notes, right? So it shifts within the grouping. So for us, melodic, if you play a pitched instrument, you have different ways of grouping a rhythm. You can group it by accenting the first note, or you can group it in in a melodic fashion. So if you just so that this rhythm in triplets would be triplet, 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 triplet. 1 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4. So that's a rhythmic grouping of 5, right? But because we can play different pitches, you can also group it in 4 on top of that, right? Let me actually use the pitches in this tune. So it'd be 1 2 3 4. Do you hear that? How that is grouped in 5 rhythmically and in 4 melodically? So actually, you have that means you have an additional layer to those 3 layers in the matrix that I showed you. But we're almost done. I'd like to listen for a little bit, but also look at the pages. Stephen, sorry, the chat. Yeah, I'll what I'll do if you can, so the chat is not public, so put your email address in the chat, and what I'll do is I'll send you an email with these charts. So whoever is here in the Zoom class, put in your email, and whoever's watching online, if you want the charts, you can email me at sebnoelle@gmail.com. sebnoelle@gmail.com. Send me an email and I will send you the charts. Okay, so unless there are any more questions, I would just like to play this recording and see if you can hear those. I think of it as wheels, right? So you have the big wheel, which is the meter. You have a smaller wheel, which is the tuplet, the subdivision. Or if it's just 8th notes, then that's still a subdivision, right? And then you have a smaller wheel that is the grouping, right? So I encourage you to, use those, to practice those first of all, to strengthen your rhythm, but also use them for your compositions. They're really fun little, whatever you want to call them, meditations to get into. So this is Furin. Let me start from the beginning, actually. think you get the idea. So um, it's the same rhythm throughout the whole tune. Okay. Um, well, thanks everybody for tuning in, for listening, for being here. I hope you feel inspired. You got something out of this. Um, Again, like I said, if you feel like, you know, this is not, you know, this is not something that you would be playing with your own group or on a gig, it's still really useful. And the funny thing about rhythm is if you strengthen your rhythm in, you know, in 1 meter or in one part or one tempo, it actually helps you improve in the rest of your in your overall rhythmic feel, right? So you know, practice, for example, practicing quintuplets will strengthen your feel. Playing in 4/4, playing in, you know, just straight 4/4, just eighth notes. It's funny how that works, but it's about rhythmic authority. If you feel like, you know, it's also about being able to interpret what the musicians around you are playing. So um, somebody might be playing one of these groupings that does not start on beat one, and you don't want that to throw you off, right? So if you're the kind of person who you know, even if you know you play a certain way, but somebody around you might play a completely different way, and you don't want that to throw you off. So very useful for that too. All right, thanks everybody. And again, if you want to rewatch, it'll be on YouTube on the New York Jazz Workshop channel. Thanks to the New York Jazz Workshop. Um, and if you feel like supporting them, it's a great organization. They have a GoFundMe page because you know we're all in dire straits these days. So if you feel like supporting them, find them on GoFundMe. Thanks again. Have a good weekend, everybody. Take care.